So finally, double Diwali for the common man of India, a promise which was made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself on 15th of August from the ramparts of the Red Fort, now being delivered by the government of India through the GST Council, which has come to the conclusion that there should only be two slabs of 5% and 18% of the GST. This was a much needed step, and this was being demanded from various quarters for a very long time. In fact, now this has become a big political issue because both the government and the opposition parties claiming credit for this move, which was decided by the GST Council. But what was transpired in the GST Council is a very interesting story. We have this inside story for you because we have seen in the past that opposition parties were not in favor of any restructuring of the GST, feeling that there will be major revenue loss for them. And they also demanded that they should be taken into confidence and also they should be compensated properly for any proposed move which was to restructure the GST. In the GST Council meeting also, this issue was raised by various opposition-ruled states like West Bengal, Punjab, Karnataka and Kerala. We have been told by the sources that when the finance ministers of these states objected and raised various queries, that point of time Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was very clear. She told them that it is not only the states but the center which is also going to suffer some sort of revenue loss because of the restructuring of the GST. But she told and assured them that all the interests of the states will be taken care of as are being done so far. And she also told them that this step, which is to restructure the GST, will be beneficial for the economy in a long run. And that at that point of time, she also indicated towards the table, which was in front of everybody, saying that whatever money is lying there, imaginary money which is lying there, it belongs to everybody, belongs to the states as well as the center. So if some loss is there for the states, then the same loss will be for the center as well. So this was the assurance given by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. But we come to the story on this story later. But first we should have look what happened behind the scenes and why this stage has come that all the states finally agreed for the restructuring of the GST. Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister, was working behind the scenes for the past 6 months because Prime Minister Narendra Modi was very clear that some relief should be given. And this is going to be a big reform to boost the economy, and especially now since the Trump tariff talk which is going on for a very long time now, there was a serious consideration within the government that the consumption should be increased, and for that some sort of incentive should be given to the consumers. They should have more money in their hands so that they can spend it. And we've been told by the sources that Nirmala Sitharaman was working for the past 6 months convincing the officials for the need to restructure the GST. There were several meetings and there were also consultations with various states. Apart from that, we've been told by the sources that Home Minister Amit Shah was asked to look into the political implications of this decision because there are certain products whose price is very sensitive as far as the politics is concerned. So another meeting was took place under the leadership of Home Minister, and that committee decided to recommend that there should be restructuring of the GST slabs. And now coming back to the GST Council meeting, which was supposed to happen on 3rd and 4th of September, this was supposed to be for 2 days, but this meeting concluded in just in 1 day on 3rd of September. The meeting lasted till 9:30 at night, which was supposed to conclude at 7 o'clock, but it went on because some opposition states, as I mentioned earlier, were raising their objections and concerns about the proposed move. And at that point of time, when Punjab and West Bengal finally agreed, still Karnataka and Kerala were adamant that some sort of relief should be given to the states as far as the GST compensation is concerned. Some mechanism should be devised to overcome the losses which they are likely to face because of the restructuring of the GST slab. At that point of time, because the discussion was going on and on and on, some states like Chhattisgarh and other states which are BJP ruled states, they actually intervened. And we've been told by the sources that Chhattisgarh Finance Minister, Mr. O.P. Chaudhary, in fact asked whether they should be voting and which is very rare thing, because in the GST Council meeting so far, this was the 56th GST Council meeting. So far, whenever GST Council meeting has taken place and whenever a decision has taken place, all the decisions are through consensus, where all the states come together and there is no difference of opinion because they form a consensus. Except on one occasion, which was on earlier, when it was a question whether to bring the lottery, whether to increase the GST in the lottery from 18 to 28%, and on that question there was voting in the GST Council. So this was another occasion, second occasion, when a voting was demanded, and this voting was demanded by a BJP ruled state, because there was impasse and he wanted to break the impasse and was basically trying to expose the opposition ruled states. They were in a fix, because if there was a voting and had they voted against the proposal to restructure the GST, then the government could have come out and said that the opposition ruled states are opposing the move to give relief to the common man. So that's why finally, when they were still objecting, and finally Nirmala Sitharaman also said that if there is a demand for voting, should we go for voting or not? At that point of time, West Bengal convinced Karnataka and Kerala that they should agree to this proposal, and finally they agreed. So there was no voting, and at around 9:30-10 this meeting concluded, and after this decision was announced. So there was of course politics as far as the GST Council meeting is concerned, and states were genuinely concerned that whether they will suffer any losses. But finally the sources are telling us that Finance Minister told them very clearly that initially there may be some loss as far as the revenue and the GST collection is concerned, and this may be in the next 1 or 2 quarters, but in the next financial year the positive impact of this GST cut will be visible, and this will be actually helping the economy to grow faster at a faster pace, and also it will bring down the inflation. So on these two fronts, this is going to be a major step, and that's why there was a consensus that now there should be restructuring of the GST.